What is going on, everyone? We are here for week 11 of the Ferrari Fixed GT3 Challenge Series. This week we're at the Silverstone Grand Prix layout, which should be quite a lot of fun. Obviously a very well-known circuit. Never actually raced a GT car around here, so I'm looking forward to actually turning a few laps, getting stuck in, and helping you guys build some speed for this week's guide, and hopefully you continue to have some good luck on the track. So let's get into it. Ferrari at Silverstone. Alright guys, so now we're going to break down the lap. So as you come down into turn 1, just before the 100 metre board, or just at the 100 metre board, you want to start getting yourself ready, right? So we're actually focusing on the escape entry. So as you get to the escape entry, you want to dab the brake and turn the car in at quite high speed. So it is a very high speed corner. It is quite hard to do on that first lap with cold tyres. So you've got to sort of be a little bit more hesitant for the first lap or two till the tyre comes up. But once the tyre comes up, you'll have a lot of confidence through here. So 5th gear, dab the brake and start attacking the corner straight away. So by the 50 metre board, you kind of want to be in line with the flag marshal stand in front of us and like on a very sort of rapid trajectory towards the apex of the corner. So, and then as you turn in, you want to get the car at this angle here. So you want to get 2 tyres over the back. So as you noticed, it looks like there's actual little red curbings behind the curb, but it's not. It's just red painted squares. So you can actually hit those. And you want to get the right-hand tyres as close to the edge of the curb as possible to help carry the speed through. Now the car does tend to favour quite a little bit of understeer through here, so the car is going to push towards the left of the track pretty rapidly. It's not ideal, but it's not a bad problem either to have. So because as you sort of come in, you're understeering towards the curb, but you kind of want to get to the curb. And as you can see at this angle here, there's sort of like the gap in the fence over there that I'm sort of looking at, but I'm sort of getting to this first red curb here, and I want to sort of carry the speed around the corner. Once I continue to carry the speed around the corner, the car tends to move off the curb and set sort of at half track roughly is where you want to be. You'll dance on the throttle a little bit, so you want to make sure you place yourself in the middle, but then you start to head back towards the left-hand side pretty quickly. The 100-meter board, nice big application on the brake, big brake pressure, 5th gear, back to 2nd gear here. So I go 4th, 3rd, and then I do the second right in the last final bit of the braking. So at this point here, back to second. I turn in, I wouldn't call it early here, it's quite a unique area. So I'm 2 squares, or 2 dark squares, like the grey squares, from the end of the curb, and then I start to turn the car at the corner at that point there. And then by mid, like as I'm just approaching the apex, I want to be in line with the red wall, and then you know you're going to carry good speed out of there in second. Car's going to get close to the curb. Don't hit the red sausage curb behind the curb, but just get as close on the curb as possible. The car's going to set mid-track. Now, a lot of guys I've seen, they dart back to the right to try and open up the left-hander. It doesn't really make that much difference here, guys. Try and stay more in the center, because what you'll find is you'll be second gear. You'll turn the car in early. So before the end of the curb on the right-hand side, start to turn the car in. You'll clip the apex. Now, you want to hit the apex right at the end of the red sausage curb here on the inside, and sort of not quite in line with the red wall, but we're very close, as you can see. And then from that point there, you'll be able to start feeding that throttle. The car's going to start to track out wide. Start to open the steering wheel so you can get 100% throttle a lot quicker. Flat through this bit here. And up through the gears, down the straight. Up to 5th gear. I hold 5th coming up here. I'm looking for the 100 meter board. Right, so start of the curb, 100 meter board, very similar markers. Obviously, the 100 meter board's slightly after the curb started, so you do want to sort of aim for that 100, but you know when you sort of get into the start of the curb, you're in that sort of area. I would recommend probably braking just before the 100 on cold tyres, because this is another corner where you can get quite a bit of understeer. So as you come down into the corner, 5th gear. Now, I only go back 2 gears here, back to 3rd gear, so, and I turn in late compared to other people, so I turn in here, 3 black squares from the end of the curb. That's where I start to turn the car at the corner. As I turn the car at the corner, I'm coming in, but I don't really want to clip this curb until we get to where it starts to become green paint behind the curb. So at this point here is where I want to actually start to approach the apex of the corner. Anything before that, you're just baiting yourself into like just pushing wide on the exit here. So I want to get to this point here, 2 tyres over the curb at this point here, sort of in line with the red wall. Then from that point, we can start to pick the throttle up. The car's going to understeer still, and you're going to end up on the inside of the track. That's not a problem here. So, and then this one here is quite unique. There's not really a brake marker for this, unless we look at the wall just there. So this is where I'm braking. So you could use the red to Armco barrier from where it goes red to white to silver. The only problem with that is, obviously, it's very much out of your peripheral vision. And you're not really going to go and glance over there every time you come past. So it's very much a field corner. But yeah, that is the marker you could use. That is roughly in the right spot, but obviously at the same time, a lot harder to actually notice it when you're so tunnel visioned into the apex. So 3rd gear, back to 2nd gear here. I use a lot of curb on the entry, and I'm sort of in line with the orange tyre bundle. Then I let the car track off the curb. Now, I don't have a precise meterage out, but I reckon it's a good half a car width to a car width off the curb I come. And then once I get to this point here, okay, so I'm in line with the light pole. It looks like a light pole right in front of us. And then I start to turn the car back at the corner from this point here. So as I start to turn the car back at the corner, I want to clip the apex right on this last red square right here on the inside. Now from this point here, you should be able to start really feeding the car throttle. It's going to use the curb on the inside. You're going to push right to the outside of the circuit. Use all the curb on the outside, and you're going to be able to feed it a lot of throttle quicker. So you're diamonding the apex. Coming through this corner here, use over the curb here, and then let the car track out towards the left-hand side of the circuit. Up through the gears, you're going to get to 5th gear. Probably the hardest corner on the circuit to nail, this next one. So, I am roughly about 65 meters from the corner when I get off the throttle here. So 5th gear, so when I look at it, it's roughly about this point here. So it's just before the color change in the grass, obviously. You're probably 2 to 3 car lengths before the 50 meter board. There's also your split in your Armco barrier and your concrete wall from the old pit lane. So you want to just be a couple of car lengths before those, right? 5th gear, you want to turn the car in at the corner extremely early. So before the 50 meter board, so I would be doing 2 black squares on the curb before the 50 meter board. Start to turn the car in 5th, right? Now, as you turn the car in at 5th, the trick is you got to trail the brake the whole way to the apex. So to this point here, and you want to be right here. Now, between the 2 red squares on this curb, and you're in line with like this red tyre wall just up there, and then once you get to this point, you need to pick the throttle up. You have to pick the throttle up straight away, otherwise the car is going to understeer. You need to start loading the car up. That's why we trail the brake the whole way in to get to the apex, and then as soon as you get to the apex, you pick that throttle up and you carry all that speed out. Now, the car is going to push and slide quite a lot here. You're going to end up using all the curbing here. As long as you keep your 2 right-hand tyres inside that white line, you will be fine. You won't get a penalty. And then you carry that momentum through. Up to Maggots and Beckett's we go. So 5th gear through here. I hold 5th coming into the next complex of corners. I stay to the right-hand side until the end of the curb. I start to turn the car at the curb. And then I turn the car back once we get to this red sausage. I start to cut across the corner. Use 2 tyres over this curb here. Try not to use too much curb here. It is actually an area where you can quite easily get an off track. So you've got to be sort of semi-careful there. So 5th gear. Now, once we come off the curb, I tend to diagonal the car straight towards the next apex. I go back to 4th gear in this area here. I'm trailing the brake. I'm being super patient. Now, as I turn in here in 4th gear, I hug the inside of this corner the whole way around, and I actually line myself up with the tyre wall, the end of the red tyre wall straight in front of us. So I sort of stay more to the left as possible. Now, I pop it down a gear at the start of the green paint just here on the left-hand side, just to get the car to rotate into the corner a little bit. So once I get that car rotated in, I want to get to the apex at that red square again, like we have been. The middle one preferably is the best one. Once you get to this point here in 3rd gear, you can pick that throttle up really aggressively, come off the curb at the end of the green paint, let the car track all the way out to the edge of the road, up to 4th nice and early, carry all the speed down this straight here, up to 5th, and then as you come up, you're looking for the 100 meter board. Nice big brake pressure. You want to turn in at the end of the curb. So 100 meter board, turn in at the end of the black square. Alright, the car is going to slide in here, and it's super tricky because it is quite an early turn-in point. And you want to sort of get to the point where you're getting to the apex just in line with this, I guess it's like a bluey, green, white building. But you don't actually want to clip that curb until you get to the 3rd red square. So at this point right here. So once you get to this point here, then you can start to pick the throttle up again. Carry all the speed off the curb. Use all the curb on the exit. Don't run the tyres over the back of the white line button. You'll be fine. Run it down into the final complex of corners. 100 meter board. Big brake pressure. Back to 2nd gear. Now this one's unique because you're turning in past the curb. So it's about a car length past the curb. You turn in. You don't want to turn in too early here, because if you hit that red sausage curb right here, you're in serious trouble. Once you come off this, you see how I line the car up with the red wall directly in front. I run the car across, and then I turn in just before it gets to the end of the curb, so that I can clip the right behind the red sausage curb here, start to aim for that first little red tyre wall behind the sand, carry all the speed out, pick the throttle up, flat through this section here, up to third. You got to watch a little bit of oversteer section through this last corner. Let the car track right out to the edge of the road, and there you go, guys. That is your walkthrough lap of Silverstone in the Ferrari GT3 for the week 11 track guide. Hope this has helped you guys. Good luck for your week of racing, and we will see you next week for the final week of the season, week 12.